Hello.
Yes, I think the resource person for today has joined the group. So, shall we start, Chirag or Gaurav, whosoever are there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, then. Okay, dear research scholars, today we are going with continuing with our coursework, and the speaker for this first chapter time or the first lot after the lunch break is Dr. Rajendrasinh Jadeja. He is associate professor in chemistry at the Department of Chemistry, MS University of Baroda. He is a good friend of mine, but more thing is he is a very helpful person. Helpful, I would mean in all kinds. He is not only a very sharp chemistry person, but for research, for any kind of administration, for any kind of project making, for any kind of discussion on funding agencies, or any such thing, he is available for a good help. So today, rather on Saturday, when we set for discussion on who should be the different resource persons, I thought that he would be a better choice for all of us. He initially decided to talk on the paper writing methods, but yesterday he just went through the schedule and found that there are other persons also who are trying to who are going to discuss on this. So he has included ethics in research also in his topic, and he will discuss on ethics in research as well as paper writing processes. So, Dr. Rajendrasinh Jadeja, I welcome you on the behalf of the University Department of Research and Development. And I hope with your lecture, the new research scholars will be benefited. Welcome, sir. And I hand
Thank
over the
you.
stage to you. I hand over the
Yeah,
stage to you, sir.
sir, is my slides are visible to you?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Am I changing now slides? Is it changing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So first of all, let me thank Dr. Girin Bakshi for giving me this opportunity to interact with all of you on this afternoon, and also inviting me to speak few words with all of you on, as he said already, on research paper writing and something on ethics and research integrity. So, students, before we start, it is already being told to me that all of you are. Am I clearly audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Uh,
Yes.
in between, if there is any voice break, or if you are not able to hear me properly, or if there is my slides are not changing anything, because I cannot see you once I start the lecture, and once I share my screen with all of you, you are no longer with me now, only I can see my presentation. So in between, if you have any queries or question, or if you have a doubts in between, you can stop me. Okay, is it fine, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now, as I told you, I'll be talking on the mainly because you have just started the research, and as it is told to me, this is a PhD coursework of science students only. So students of science faculty only. So naturally, all of you are doing research in science, and or many of you are going to start your research, or some of you are already doing for quite a long time, and probably you are at various stage of your PhD, right? So being the mentor in this area, and supervising many students, some of the things has already been uh, percolated to me from my teachers, my gurus or grand gurus, and many fellow colleagues and others. So whatever wisdom which we have acquired in these years, I'm going to share with all of you. Though I have made some slides, just to share, or just to make it so that it will be not in an air I'm talking. So there are some slides are there, but basically, as I said, I'm going to share my experience over the year while dealing with the students, research students, or doing research on my own. Research is something which is not only to be done in a particular phase in a life. It is a continuous process. One has to do research in his life. When we say what you learn, I mean, is it the research is only for PhD only? That is only to get a degree. Is it like that? So the answer is certainly no, because PhD is a degree. Like you did a BSc or you did an MSc, like that. This is a degree when you are joining, and once you finish your particular 3 or 4 year or time, only the difference in the other degree and PhD is in a PhD you only have to do a coursework which you are doing in I mean learning the papers in MSc or other things. But other than coursework, as all of you know, you have to write a research papers and you have to write a thesis. At the end, what is the the end or outcome of the PhD process? The outcome of the PhD process is writing a dissertation thesis, a PhD thesis, and that thesis will be evaluated by the two experts, and you will be examined not just by a written test, but by conducting a viva voce examination. In the viva examination, normally few questions will be asked by the the examiner, and it if he or she is find satisfactory, normally it so happen that I have not heard that anybody got failed in the viva voce examination. Whether it is good or bad, I don't know, but so far what I have heard, that everybody who appears for the PhD viva, he or she do clears his viva voce examination, and that is the you can say that the result of the exam result is 100%, 100%, which is normally not the case in many of the other degrees. In the other degree, you may see that the result will be 60% or 70% or something like that. So what I mean to say, in this PhD degree, the result is 100%. So naturally, if we know the process is 100% result, we will be little bit over enthusiastic. We will be doing the things with with very good enthusiasm, because we do not have a fear in our mind. We do not have a fear that we are going to fail. At the same time, when we do the process, we should know that there should be some checks on us. If there is a no checks on us, naturally we will be not able to do the work in a good manner, or in a facile manner, or in a manner in which we should able to do it. So naturally, we all are human being, and human beings has a uh, kind of a behavior, human behavior, that if there is a no checks on us, or if there is nobody is going to put a checks on us, then we will not going to follow the ethics on our own. So this is very important. Although we have born with a integrity, we have born with a many good qualities, but are we going to retain those qualities in our research work also? That is very, very important question. Second thing, I also able to always tell to my students, that one has to do introspection every day. When we do introspection, is it something like am I advising you to becoming the spiritual person? No, it's not something related to spirituality. It is very scientific in a manner, that if we introspect ourselves every day, that what I have done today, what is my outcome of the day, or what I have achieved in this day. Normally every day may not be a rewarding day for everyone, right? It may happen that you may understand, or you may do good things on one day, you may not be able to do that good things other day also. It may happen on a one day you got a surprising results in your experiment. It may happen next day, the same experiment, if you try to repeat it, you may fail also. So research is something which may not rewarding at all the time, but there should be some of the ethics, some of the things which one has to follow while pursuing this taking up this research things. So, in this my lecture, as you can see on the slides, I'll be talking on intellectual honesty and research integrity. That is one thing, but that will be a part, or they are interconnected with research paper writing also. As the Bakshi sir has already said, uh, I'm not going to, taking a full, lecture on research paper writing. Although, the PPT is already ready with me, but as I told, as is being told by the Bakshi sir, that the other speaker, which is going to follow after my talk in a next few coming days, they also will be talking. One of your faculty member will be talking on, how to write a good research paper for high impact journal. So he is already going to cover about that. So that's how I thought that instead of making it the process difficult for my next speaker to speak on, I will speak on something different thing. And that is how I have chosen these two words to ponder upon today's talk, and that is intellectual honesty and research integrity. Although these two words are very, very important in as far as our life is concerned, be it a life, because PhD, I always say that it is a a phase in a life. You are a PhD student for 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. That is a very small portion of your life. But then the training which you have acquired in during your PhD should be helpful to you to spend remaining years of your life. This is very, very important. And that's how this integrity or honesty which is inculcated in you in these years will helpful to you to spend, although uh, uh, people are now doing coursework just because you know uh, uh, UGC is making the rules. Let me tell you, friends, if anybody is framing the rules, any agency, be it a university or UGC for that reason and highest body, or any other regulating authority, if they are making a rules, the rules are already always made to understand the people, or to make it the process streamline across the country or across the our country. But fortunately or unfortunately, uh, these whole regulations are not followed word to word. There are many loopholes are there in our system. There are many disadvantage that we are not able to the follow the whole thing in a proper manner. Am I right? So that's how it may happen that the rules are made. We proudly sometimes say that rules are made to break the rules, and that is how the authorities or the regulations regulating bodies, or the UGC for that reason, is making all these things will be not much help unless and until there will be changes from the within, changes from the the stakeholders. We the stakeholders, be it research scholars or the research supervisors and the university as a whole, if they do not take uh, uh, action from within, then there will be by making rules, I personally believe that it is not going to serve the purpose as such. But yes, of course, if there is a no rules, anybody can do the things on his or her own wisdom, and therefore that is also not good. One has to follow some ethics, some at least some guideline should be made. And therefore, as a part of your coursework, it is now, as all of you know, it is made compulsory by the UGC to take a 2 credit coursework on this intellectual honesty and research integrity, and probably on research ethics. Probably you might have studied as a part of your coursework this paper also, but again it is in an online mode, and therefore we know that how much we learn in an online mode, because each things has a uh, plus and minus. So when this type of a coursework, when it was conducted in an offline mode, naturally you have to remain present physically, at least if not mentally, physically at least, to be present into the classroom and attend those lectures. But the moment it is conducted online, what we do normally, we sometimes hear half the lecture, we do not hear half the lecture, and we do other work at the same time. So therefore, again, although it is made it mandatory by the UGC to take a 2 credit coursework on these topics, many of students just take it very casually and sometimes may attend and sometimes may not attend the things. So what I thought is, while talking to you on this afternoon, perhaps up to 4 or 4:30 today, I'm going to speak on these two words also, as well as as I said it in the beginning, I will also share my experience while working with the research scholars and with my seniors and with my teachers as well. So this is something overview which I'm going to talk about in today's lecture. I'm going to read before you the book's definitions, some principles we will see, and then we will understand it. What is academic integrity means? What is academic intellectual dishonesty means? We'll take few examples, and then what should be the policy structure in universities to follow. Again, I'm telling you, the bodies or regulating authorities will make a rules. It will make a some structure to keep a checks on each and everything, but it is individual's perception which makes it to understand how you are following the things. And finally, uh, responsible conduct of a research, and what is role of a student as a research student in this case. So this is again an overview of this talk. As I said, I'll be talking, interconnecting two topics about writing research paper also, and with this two words we will understand intellectual honesty and research integrity as well. Now, as I said in the previous slides, these are some bookish definition of intellectual honesty. So these are few, different ways of saying same words. There are four definition is given, and as I said, these are four different definitions of a same word. Uh, I don't think it to read it before you, but just for make a sense, the first definition is intellectual honesty is honesty in the acquisition, analysis, and transmission of ideas. A person is being intellectually honest when he or she, knowing the truth, state that truth. So honesty, we know the word, and here it is intellectual honesty. So whatever we do, because uh, in a research, whatever we do majority the use of our intellect. The ideas are very important. The expression of idea is very important. The originality of idea is very important. So therefore, the intellectual honesty means whatever truth we know and that we are stating or not correctly, that something which is being said in this definition. And like that, in other definition of an intellectual honesty, uh, different perspective way it is written over here. I just read one more for your perusal. Say second definition: intellectual honesty is a personal commitment to search for the truth by examining the evidence and thinking rationally to tell the truth and to act according to the truth. Now again, as I said, these are all bookish definition. Many of the time, whether we do follow about intellectual honesty, that again the question which is put in before us. As I also said in the beginning, integrity is also very important in all areas of life, not just temporarily for doing research, but it should be a parts of your personality. If you are having an integrity, you will be different than the others. Naturally, those which follow some ethics or some rules or regulations, he or she will be little bit bitter. Okay, it's not that when people say always truth, we always say that truth is not all the time sweet. Sometimes, many of the times, truth is bitter, and therefore people around you, people working with you, your colleagues, your fellow students may or may not like whatever things you are going to say. So that doesn't mean that you have to say the sugar coated truth to them. As I said, the truth never can be sugar coated. It has to be, it should be as such it is to be told. And therefore if you follow certain ethics, if you follow, integrity in your life, then it may happen you may not be very much, popular among your fellow colleagues or others, but that doesn't mean you have to, do not follow the ethics. You have not to follow the principles or rules and regulations. So the integrity needs to be practiced in all areas of life. As I said just now, it is not just for only particularly should, limited to the coursework. Just, you have passed the 2 credit coursework on integrity. That's all, nothing. You have acquired A grade or B grade or C grade, whatever grade you have got. It should not be, only limited to that. It has to be, practice maybe during the, your this journey of a PhD, as well as, in the later part of your life. And when you follow this ethics, or yeah, when you are, follow this integrity process, it will make you accountable. It will make you accountable, and altogether, as I said, your personality will be, different if you follow this research integrity. So it's, as I said, it's not just applicable to the teachers only, or the other staff members of the departments, or only it is limited to students only. It applies to everyone. It applies to everyone. It applies to both, all the stakeholder, in fact, in a total. Now, when we talk about this, ethics and academic integrity, again, what does academic and research integrity involve? So this academic integrity includes, but it is not limited to, honesty and fairness. Now, this again related to when we talk about a student's point of view. Okay, because already I told you in the beginning that the PhD is the examination where the result is 100%. So therefore, you need not to, think about the failures. Okay. So all those which are, taking, the admission, since the outcome is 100%, whether, you are able to gain something, new knowledge, whether you have, gained some experience, whether you have not gained some experience, the process is final that you are going to, going to success. This reminds me, one very good example, which, I have seen on my own in one of the very famous dairy of, India, and perhaps the largest dairy in the Asia, and that is the Amul. All of you maybe have heard about the word Amul. Amul, can I ask you, students, anybody who knows the full form of word Amul? Students? Anyone of you knows the full form of word Amul?
No, sir.
No? Yeah, before me, somebody is still sitting. Anybody knows what is?
I think students are lacking general knowledge also.
Okay. Yeah, this is a general knowledge question, but we should be proud, that, we are in the state where the white revolution takes place. Dr. Varghese Kurian, was a very famous personality, and we, celebrate the milk day in his honor. So anyway, it's a Amul is a Anand Milk Union Limited. Okay, Anand District Milk Union Limited. That is what the Amul stands for. So, it's a dairy where, the all of you know that last year, Government of India has started a new ministry altogether, and that name of ministry is Sahakar Ministry. And probably you may be knowing, again, our own Amit Bhai Shah is the first, minister of a Sahakar ministry. And in this process, again, let me tell you, in the Amul dairy, the milk powder is made. Why I'm giving this example? Because this dairy movement started very long back, and they are making, a lot of uh, milk products out of the milk, which they are collecting, and we know that recently Amul has celebrated 100 years, and then, the Prime Minister was here in Ahmedabad, and lot many things are there. I'm not diverting to that. What is my message over here is, Amul is making a lot of products, including chocolates and other things, even ice creams and many other things, to give a value addition to the milk. Because as such, if you sold a milk, if you sell a milk into the market, it will not have a value addition. Then probably it will be not rewarding for those which you are which is producing the milk. Okay, and that's how it is on a union. Sahakari Sangh is there, which is making this milk, and then Amul is simply processing milk and then selling it to the people. It is very surprising that in the Himalayas or in the very remote part of our country, when you go and if you see the Amul milk is available there, you feel very pride that it is Amul is everywhere in the India. So when they started preparing this milk, as I said, initially they had a thought of only few milk products, and one of them was milk powder. Again, milk powder is the one which one can use it when physically milk is not available, and it can be stored for a very long time, and you can make a milk out of it very easily. So they used to have an automated plant. In the automated plant, what they do, they have a this tin or the dabbas, which we called it, is printed already, having some very nice attractive labels and other things, and then they are coming in this whole conveyor belt, and then on one big this one container, there is a full of milk powder is there, and then automatically when that dabba comes over there, automatically few grams of milk powder, say 1 kg or 500 gram, will fall into that dabba, and then it will be again it will be shut down, and then it is finally sealed, and then dum karke on that there will be stamp will be there, automated stamping will be there to stamp it a batch number, the date, etc., and something like that. So what happened in that process, one after the other dabbas are coming, and milk powder is calculated quantity of a milk powder is poured into it. So this is a continuous process, and as I said, the process is automated. Naturally, one after the other container comes, and calculated quantity should be put it into it, and then it is to be sealed and it is to be marketed. But in this process, sometimes it may happen that some of the dabbas, when it was getting opened, it may not be able to fulfill the whole, the amount. And I mean to say, suppose 500 gram is to be there, but that 500 gram is not, in one or the other way is poured into it, and still it got, locked, and then things go ahead. So in this process, then probably you may be knowing there is a one department called quality assurance or quality check, QC or QA department is there. They do visit manually this type of a dabbas, and then they do separate them, and then the whole correct batch of a container is allowed to pack into the the cartoons, and then that cartoons again sealed it properly, and then it is sold into the market. Now, when I have shown this process, I have linked it with our, present, the PhD process. That, in this process, the students after the MSc or one after the other are coming, the stipulated quantity of a things, be it a coursework or, the research papers or the thesis, etc., which is to be told, is to be done in a very systematic manner. Now, in these things, some of the container are like that, where exactly 100% things are filled, and that is to say, whatever they have thought of, the same things have been delivered. But in this process, as I said, the result is 100%, and therefore all it may happen that only few container, very few container in a 1,000 or 100, which do not able to get passed through the quality checks. Otherwise, everything get passed and everything goes into the market. So like that, every university is producing now so many numbers of PhD students. Be it the not just I'm talking in a science area, because the students which are pursuing PhD in science probably are very less in numbers compared to the students who are acquiring the PhDs in humanities, in the social science, in the other areas, disciplines perhaps. They are very large in number. So now if you think of that, so many, containers are coming out and, sold across the, our country, then how much things have been poured, whether, it is 100 gram, 200 gram, 500 gram, 1 kg, which was thought of to be, packed. Is it actually being packed into it? That is a question. So again, as I said, I'm not doubting on the process because the outcome is 100. The quality check says that it is 100% is, getting cleared, and therefore everybody who takes an admission gets clear the process, and that's how we have not to, doubt on the process, or else we are not here to discuss on that. But the question is, whatever is pouring into it, is it that material which is being, worth putting into it, whether it is being digested by the container? Again, container is something which is not going to speak upon, but then are we going to, as a students, are you going to ask that whether we follow the integrity, whether we follow the, ethics, whether we follow the academics honesty? These are the questions before us, and they are to be, answered. So, let me tell you, friends, this question comes from when we start giving examination. Because what happened in examination, it may happen that you have read for, say, 5 questions, and out of that, the one questions you might not have, done a revision at last moment, and the same question appears in the question paper, and then you have not prepared for that question, and your neighbor or, your surrounding environment, somebody is writing that question, you have seen that he or she is writing same question, and then you get tempted to just look at him or her, and you either knowingly or unknowingly, or I'm not saying you are piping out from your own, desk to, somebody else question paper, but it may happen that, you look to the others, and then there is nothing wrong if somebody is not found you cheating, and then if supervisor is do not having a, very good vision, although we say that supervision makes the, supervisor or the person who is doing supervision should be, much more visionary. Vision is so much better than you, that he or she may, catch you or caught you during, doing this kind of a, dishonesty. But this is a small example of a dishonesty. Although if somebody will not, caught you, or the squad is not there, or somebody who is not superhumans are, or surveillance is not there, or in these days now there is a very good word called, CBT examination. It is a computer based test. So in the computer based test, whether person is looking or not looking at you, but the camera is watching you, so you are under, CCTV surveillance, and that's how whatever type of a movement which you are do here or there will be recorded into the camera, and that can be looked upon by the person later on, and he or she may be found, disqualifying from the examination. So, uh, unless and until, if you have a fear in your mind that somebody is, watching you, or somebody is looking at you, and then you do the, good thing, that is not, something which is expected. It should come from within. Again, I'm putting in this way, that whether it is a small misconduct in examination, or, misconduct in research, or, misconduct in your whatever things you are doing, this is very, very important, that the things should percolate from the within, then only, you will be able to uh, uh, stop that. Otherwise, as I said, if there is no fear, for that reason, very famous holy book which we, practice in our judiciary, and that is Bhagavad Gita. Whenever you go to the, any high court or Supreme Court, first, they will put your hand on Bhagavad Gita, and you have to, take an oath that, whatever I'm going to say, that will be truth. Why we put a, hand on Bhagavad Gita? Because it's a very holy book, it is a very spiritual book. Those who are for Hindus, same thing applies to the, other communities. For Muslims, it is the Quran, and Bible is for Christians. So whatever holy book which you do follow, you put a hand on it and take oath before, speaking. why we need to take this oath? Because if we follow all the time, truth, if you're saying truth, somebody to somebody or to your colleagues, then probably it is not required to take such oath, in the courts. But when we do so, at least at that particular moment, we do have a fear in our, mind, that somebody, God or whatever we follow, whatever intellect, whatever the ideology which we follow, that be it a God or Allah or whatever we say, that he, when you take oath, and if you do not follow that, the things will be, not good to us. So that is how uh, temporarily we follow the ethics or follow the truth or follow the honesty. But the same thing, if you fix in your mind that somebody is, because it is said in Bhagavad Gita that Sarvasya Chaham Radhi Sannivisto. The meaning of this is said in a chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita. Sarvasya Chaham Radhi Sannivisto. The meaning of that is, I'm there in the everybody's human being's heart. I'm there sitting in the everybody's human's heart. So that means that it is already been said by Lord into the Holy Script that I'm there in your heart, and that's how our heart is there all the time with us, and therefore he sees us from the within. The God is seeing you from the within all the time. Whatever you do, whatever you practice during your be it when you are sleeping, because our heart is working even when you are sleeping. It is not like heart is temporarily stopped when you are sleeping. So the heart is continuously functioning, and that's how he or she is seeing you from the within even while you are sleeping. So therefore in the sleeps also, when you are think or you are doing research while sleeping, because it happens that many of the good ideas comes during the sleeping. So while sleeping, when you are doing research or when you are practicing some concept, at that time also you will follow academic honesty, you will follow integrity, you will follow the ethics. That is what is being desired, and that is how, if this type of a thinking is there from the within, then we are going to follow the ethics in a total. So friends, these are again, as I said, is a philosophical way of saying the things. And if you do follow this philosophical way of following this, probably you will be able to follow the ethics or honesty in any situation of your life, even be it your PhD or other than the PhD. Again, let me give a brief idea about some principles of intellectual honesty. This is what is being written, and these are some principles of research integrity. Again, these are the few words which, when you will read, you will feel it that they are very much similar, because honesty, reliability, uh, impartiality, open communication, fairness. So these are the words which looks very much similar to each other. And then they are the principles of 1, 2, 3, 4, total 9 principles of research integrity. As I said, in these words, the 3 words, 4 or 5 words are very important, and that is honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility. So this is again, these are the very important word as far as both students as well as faculty concerned, because the honesty is the the very first word. If you are honest with your research supervisor, if your research supervisor is honest with the students, then many of the other academic dishonesty or academic disintegrity, etc., will not come into the picture. So honesty is very much important, unless and until, if you are very much honest to your supervisor and as well as the vice versa, then the other problems automatically will solve. And then if honesty is there, then second words comes is a trust. Trust can be developed over the time. It's not come immediately. We know that many of the time, to put a trust on somebody, and there will be there, it may happen he or she may breach your trust, and then you will feel cheated many of the time. So trust is something which is to be there. Fairness, respect. Again, many of the time we say respect is something which is to be earned, respect is not something which is, comes directly. It is to be earned. If you are, in such a manner with your students or with your fellow colleagues, then he or she will respect you. And if you do not follow in certain manner to him or her, he or may, feel respectful for a temporary period. But on the later side, when he or she will be away from you, may not be feeling respectful. So this is again very important. And then finally, responsibility. This is again a very, again, there are many, words. Responsibility, you can read over here. Many, synonyms about that is also there. So these are all, a part of an academic integrity. And when we say breach of academic integrity, it will be dishonesty. Okay, so it's a kind of a, you can say, the in Gujarati we say virudharthi shabda. So it's a opposite words for this integrity is a dishonesty. When you do not follow integrity, when you do not follow honesty, then it comes the dishonesty. And that dishonesty, when we talk about, as far as PhD is concerned, as far as the academic intellectual dishonesty is concerned, it can be seen in various ways in the form of a plagiarism, fabrication, tampering, sabotage, duplicity, cheating, and many other words, which is, you can see on these slides. Now, there will be, what I have seen, in your schedule, that you will have going to full lecture on plagiarism. And what is plagiarism, how to, check for plagiarism, what are the software available for plagiarism. Again, I'm saying you, these are all words or the process you are going to follow, because before, when we used to do a PhD, probably when even Bakshi sir will also agree that when we, all of us, when we were doing PhD, we did not have to put, the certificate in our thesis about plagiarism check. Okay, the reason is, as I said, this academic integrity and, other things where it was said that it is, since the PhD is the highest degree, naturally the one which is practicing this will not follow dishonesty. It is to be believed that he or she will be honest. He will not follow dishonesty. He will not follow, academic disintegrity, at least while writing the thesis. And that is what is to be believed. And therefore, when we used to write a thesis, we need not to put a certificate for a plagiarism check. But it so happened that people has misused this, liberty. People has misused this liberty which was given to the research supervisor, to the research scholar, to the, universities. And you will see that people have started copying word to word with, some changes, and then submitted the same, duplicate thesis for other degrees or the other university. Because what happened in good old days, there was no repository. There was no repository. It was only the hard copy needs to be submitted. So when, we used to do a thesis writing, we used to do only hard copy thesis submission. There was no something concept of soft copy deposition was there, or there was no Sodh Ganga was there. There was no repository was there. And therefore, whatever is being submitted in this university cannot be submitted to other university. Yes, it is possible. With some modification, one can do those kind of a duplication and used to do that. And same applies to plagiarism. Plagiarism was there, probably it was not, there was not much way to detect it was possible, but thanks to, this softwares which you are going to learn. I'm not going to say on a detail on it, because you are going to learn about what is plagiarism, what are the plagiarism softwares and other things in a detail in the next sessions to come. So at that time, but at this juncture, these are all part of a, dishonesty. These are all a part of a, breaching of an integrity. So if you do not follow the academic integrity or academic honesty, then, these all things will, contribute into that. When, we talk about a plagiarism, these are the few words which is never, being thought about, or which is never being touched upon in this plagiarism. And that is, some of the very important word like, ghost writer. Now, when we talk about a research paper writing, let me tell you, friends, as I told you in the beginning, the outcome of your PhD process is only two things, and that is one is a research paper, and second is your PhD thesis. These are the two outcomes of your whatever of 2 years or 3 years or 4 years of very hard work which you do. In the outcome of this hard work will be, put it in the form of a two things. One is the research paper, and second one is your PhD thesis. Now, in both of this, if you follow the academic integrity, if you follow the honesty, academic honesty, then probably your uh, research paper or thesis will be, free from, this type of a plagiarisms. But then there are different types of a plagiarisms, which again, as I said, I'm not going to talk about this in a detail in this session, because somebody is going to cover these topics in the other session. But let me quickly talk about, the one very important aspect of a plagiarism in the research paper, and that is, uh, is, you can say, it's a ghost writer, or sometimes, the word which is being used is a gift authorship. Gift authorship. Okay, so what is this gift authorship, or what is this ghost writer? So this ghost writer is the writer turns in another's work word for word as his or her own. Okay, uh, that is to say, pura ka pura, I have seen many of the time, in this era of, uh, technology, and particularly the era of, the internet. Now you cannot, hide the things. Earlier it was very easy to hide the things in a cupboard, and one was never able to search it. But now the cupboards are open. The keys of the cupboard are, lying in an internet, and everybody can, see what you are doing, what you are publishing, what you are, writing. And therefore what happened, there were people were used to steal whole of the, research paper from somebody, and just, changing the name, and maybe sometimes just to, mislead, sometimes, change the title also, and publish the same paper again. So that is used to be happened. But now, as I said, with the internet there, and with the repository things are there, and many other checks are there, you cannot do so. Second word is, gift authorship. What happened when you write the research paper? Research paper is something which you will write before you write the thesis. Okay, so in that also, who will be the author? What should be the, authorship number? There is a first authorship, second authorship, and so on and so forth. Different perspective are there for that. I'm not going to explain you at this juncture to meaning of that. But sometimes what happens, somebody who have not done the work in that research paper, because now what happened, if you have I don't know, some of you might have also communicated the paper now with a, some of the journal. So while communicating the research paper in a good research journal, what is good research journal? Again, there is a, word again, there is a lot of things is there behind that. I'm not going to put it at this juncture, because it is not, we are not able to identify between a good and bad very easily, because something may be good at my perspective, may not be good at, somebody else's perspective. So what is good? Because in this era of numbers, if you say the only impact factor is the, one which will decide the journal is good, I'm not, agreeing with your view, because impact factor is not the solely the number which will decide that this is a better journal. Okay, so again, there is a myth. Impact factor is not only the criteria to decide whether journal is good or bad. There are many criteria one has to follow, and as I said, it is again a subjective point of view. Very high impact factor journal may not be good at all, or very low impact journal may be very good also. So it's a just number game, and number game, many of the time, the very many of the time, very much myth is being followed, or ethics is not being followed, just to manage the number. So I'm not again going to go in detail into it. But what I mean to say, when you are writing a paper to the good journal, and somebody who is the communicating that paper, or writing that paper, we say it as a corresponding author, needs to also give in a writing about what is the contribution of each and every research individual in this paper. Whether it is a first paper, author, what is his role or her role, second author, what is his or her role. So whether somebody has done only the work, and somebody has only supervised it, whatever it is. So everything in a wordings is to be now given to the journal before your paper is finally getting published. Why they need this? Earlier they were not requiring even this. Why this? Why they need this? The reason is, it happened many of the time that suppose I'm writing one research paper, okay, and in that paper, Mr. X is my very good friend, and I wish to reward him or her with one research paper. So what I will do, I will put his or her name in my research paper, and I will publish that paper. And then once it is published, I'm giving him this research paper as a gift to him, that okay, this is your gift. So this is what is called gift authorship, okay, where the person has not contributing anything in this paper. He or she is not at all aware about the work is being undertaken, or he or she has not even supervised that work, or he is not contributing in a simple way to that work, and still he or she wish to take a credit for that. So that is what is you can call it as a ghost author, or as a gift author. So this is all way of practicing academic disintegrity, or dishonesty, or it's kind of one kind of a plagiarism itself. So that is to be at least if you do not publish, it's fine. But if you publish with such kind of a things, that will be again is something which is very, very unacceptable, and one has to follow at least this. Then second word is the photocopy. The writer copies significant portion of a text straight from a single source without alteration. As I said, in good old days, it used to be happen that one has to fully photocopy the full paper, and changes little bit here and there, and used to publish. That was fine in good old days, but with the powerful plagiarism, again thanks to uh, the technology, which makes us to identify this similarity check percentage, etc. So now one cannot do that. The potluck paper, the writer tries to disguise plagiarism by copying from several different sources, tweaking the sentences to make them fit together while retaining most of the original phrase. So this is again kind of you are try to minimize the percentage similarity. Up to some extent it is fine, because what happened, you may not have all the time original words, or you may not have original ideas, or you may not have original paragraphs to write. So naturally you will copy something at least from some source, but then, as I said, you have to put them into your language, you have to tweak them. These days, nowadays, again, some softwares are available, and people do use those softwares to make them fresh changes and something like that, or saying one and the same thing in other way, so that it will not look copied at least, or it will at least will alter the percentage similarity. So up to some extent it is fine when you use them, but the extensive use of such things is again is to be avoided. Again, what is the remarcation line, that is to be decided by your supervisor and you together. Then the poor, because what happened in these days, if you write any research paper, or when you submit the thesis, the percentage similarity, again, I think somebody going to speak on this in a detail in some other sessions. So the percentage similarity will be decided by the authorities. Say for example, when you communicate the thesis, it is said that the less than 10% should be the similarity in your thesis. Now when you submit the thesis, before that you all have already communicated many research papers, and many of your texts will be exactly same in the thesis which you have written in your research paper. So therefore, if you talk yourself about a similarity of your thesis, it will be, with your research paper, it will be so much percentage similarity. But then, the guides have been given a wisdom that they can, avoid those papers which is related to him or her, and then he or guides has to give a certificate about, the percentage similarity, that in the thesis, whatever other than his or her work, research paper, whatever other sources is there, should be less than 10%. That is what is now the UGC guideline says. So according to that, if it is there, then your thesis is free from that plagiarism. Second thing, when you write a research paper, as I said just now, if you are going to communicate in a good journal, before your paper goes to the review, the editor of a journal will pass your paper through the this anti-plagiarism softwares. And again, if your percentage similarity is more than what is being prescribed limit for that particular journal, many of the time it is 20% number. It varies again from journal to journal. But then if it is beyond that, then probably your paper will not send for the review, and it will be rejected, or saying that there is a much of the similarities found. So in that case, when you alter the similarity, just by changing the phrases, etc., that is not that is not a breach of plagiarism. Okay, that is which is something which is allowed, because you are going to say the same text which was written in some different manner. So that is not a potluck paper. That is not to be conceptualized in this way. And the final word is the poor disguise. Although the writer has retained the essential content of the source, he or she has altered the paper's appearance slightly by changing keywords and phrases. Okay, again, this is again something which is very much unacceptable in the academic world. Then these two words are very important: fabrication and cheating. What is fabrication? Again, this applies not just to any research paper or the thesis, or it applies to research project also. It applies to the manuscript also. It applies to many things. Okay, so what is fabrication? Falsification of an invention or any information, including but not limited to falsifying research, inventing or excreting data, or listing incorrect or reference. What you do, you are while doing a research, you are producing some data. You are producing some data. I always say that data never lies. Data never lies, because when you try to adjust the data, you will be caught red-handed some or the other time. If your supervisor is smart, if he or she is dumb, even though once or twice he may trust you, but then if you try to cheat him or her, maybe on the first attempt you may get success, but on the later attempt you may not be succeeded. So મુકેશભાઈ પછી કરું, એક મીટિંગમાં છું, એક મે બી 4:30 વાગે. So your data, which if you are trying to play with your data and you fabricate your data, the word fabrication we know these days, because many of the time fabrication implies to things are being made by fabricators. There are fabricators who are the one which will make the things out of it. So same thing applies to the research over here. When you are writing something, or when you are experimenting something, or when you are working on something, and if you produce a data, or you try to adjust with the data, sometimes when we draw a straight line and some of the points are not lying on a straight line, yes, we try to adjust it in such a manner that it looks straight line. That's fine. That's a human nature. So that's by putting adjustment in some manner is something which is acceptable. But altogether your data is saying that your line is bell shaped. and you are making it straight line, that is something which is not acceptable. So here again, at what there is a demarcation line that how much data is to be adjusted or to be changed, whether it is data adjusted or it is fabricated or it is plagiarized, that can be very easily judged by the just data. When smart person will look, experienced person will look to those data, it will be very easily caught. So that is to be avoided, cheating. And this cheating comes only that way only. Use or attempted use of unauthorized material, information or study aids, or an act of deceit by which a person attempts to misinterpret mystery of academic efforts or information. So that is what is cheating. Data is saying that your result is this, and you try to say the same thing in different way. Your data is saying that your experiment's outcome is X, and you are trying to interpret the same as a Y. So that is also is a cheating. So whatever because science do not believe in fabrication. Science do not believe in kind of a manipulation. Science do not believe in, because the one word is very important in our because this type of a data is because in a through the surveys. So over there is if you change the data, something which is it will not make much difference. But in our science discipline, the data is being produced by experiment. They are experimental data, and in experimental data, the one word is very important, and that is repeatedness. Repeatedness means the same reproducibility. Reproducibility means the same data or the same experiment which you have done today, if you do at the same condition after 2 days, or maybe after 1 year, or maybe after the 3 year, or if the same experiment some X person do on your behalf after 3-4 years, the same results should come. So this is very, very important. Temporarily, just to get a credit, we do produce a data which are not reproducible, and still we on one attempt, whatever data which we have got, we do communicate those data to the uh, research paper, and then research paper, once it is published, it will go to our thesis also, and you will be praised because you have got a very nice results. But if you yourself try the same experiment second time and you do not get the same results, this is again a cheating with your own self. Cheating with your own self. You have cheated you, because the same data which is supposed to be reproduced is now not getting reproduced by your own. So that is again a cheating. So in a science discipline, when I'm talking about a data, friends, in other disciplines like humanities, or in a other discipline, this is something that is not very serious. But in a science subjects, since your data are results of an experiments, if you try to adjust those experimental data, it is very, very serious, because again things may different, and then if somebody try to copy you after some because there is always referring of the data, because when you publish anything, somebody will try to refer it after maybe few years, and then he or she try to imply the same results again second time. If they are not getting the similar results, it will have a no use. Okay, this tempering, again these words you might have heard when implies, because many of you may be associated with cricket. Ball tempering, you might have heard that somebody try to play with ball tempering. So here also it's changing. Tempering means altering or interfering with the document or instruments or whatever other things. So that is what is called tempering. Substitution, again those we are with science background, we know what is the meaning of substitution. Then assisting and unauthorized collaboration, these are also very important, because this world is about collaboration. You may do collaboration, positive collaboration will always bring a good result, but then unauthorized collaboration, this is again to be avoided. Using a material or collaborating with another person during a test or other assignment without authorization. This is what is unauthorized collaboration. Many of the time people do collaboration, but then with whom, or the person with whom you have done collaboration, if you do not give a due credit to him or her, that is also, is very, very serious breach of, integrity, or it is a dishonesty. So this is, again, it is to be very, very important. Again, few more words like duplicity, sabotage, deception. Again, they are, self-explanating. You can just read upon. There is not much to, explain in this. Duplicity, we already know. Duplication, right? So to offer identical or substantially unchanged work in 2 or more courses for credit without specific advance approval of the professors involved. So this is what we do. Duplicity. Collusion, again, this is defined as supporting malpractice by another candidate, as in allowing one's work to be copied or submitted for assessment by another. So these are, the few, examples of, academic dishonesty or, disintegrity. Again, what is academic intellectual dishonesty? So this is, again, then examples. As far as the, examination is concerned, but then let me read. Presenting a paper copied from a file or purchasing and presenting it as original work. These days it is very common. People do, find something from the internet, and then in the conference or the in the workshop, presenting it as his or her original work. So it is totally fully copied work. And then, many of the time when you are presenting a review work, it's fine. Reviewing the others' work is something is acceptable. But then putting them as an original research work, okay, in the small conference or seminar, again, it's a example of a intellectual dishonesty. Faking the results of laboratory experiment or work. Yeah, faking. That's again something which is asking for examination content or answers from another students. This is during normal examination, not implies to PhD. Using material from another student's paper without credit to the other student. Working in a group when an assignment was assigned as individual work. So these are, few example of it. Again, few more are given here. Let me read quickly few of them. Allowing another students to look at one's answer sheet. Again, this is during quiz or examination. Claiming authorship or participation in a group paper or presentation when no contribution was made. Already I have, discussed this about while talking about host authorship or gift authorship. Purchasing or receiving notes from fellow students. This again implies to the normal examination. Writing a laboratory report without performing the lab activity. Yeah, this is again very, very serious. Writing a laboratory report without performing the lab activity or experiment. You have not actually conducted any experiment, and you are, writing a report directly. Okay, so that is again something, example is there. Okay, these are few more. Obtaining a paper from the internet and submitting it as its own work. Already we have discussed. Turning in a paper that has been purchased from a commercial research firm. I do very surprised in these days now. Such commercial firms are there. Some, the team of people are also there who are assisting, during various stage of, I don't know whether you are aware of it or not. ગુજરાતીમાં એક કહેવત છે, મારે અત્યારે નથી કહેવી. I don't want to speak out it because it may be misinterpreted. But, there are now people available in the market who will assist you at the various stage of your research. Okay, and then what they are getting, that you have simply to pay them. You have to, simply pay them. If you do not know how to do, the very first thing which you have to do in your research is you have to do the literature survey. So if you do not know how to do the literature survey, you just, give them a topic. They will do all the literature survey for you, and they will give you the files or research paper. Okay, again, you have to pay them some rupees, and then they will do for you. If you are not getting, the work properly, your results are not getting, properly done, again, they will do experiments for you. They will give you the, whatever results you require, they will give you. If you do not know how to write a paper, they will write for you. They will give you the research paper. If you do not know how to write a thesis, they will write a thesis for you and will give you the thesis. So this type of a, assisting hands are there in this academic world now. And again, I should say that government or the regulating authority should take a strict, action before against them, so that such kind of, the malpractices or the shops rather should, altogether shut down. But yes, they are not shutting down. They are continuously there, and their number are increasing. I'm not going to detail into it because it's altogether a very big subject, because it's not implies to the agencies or people only. It implies to the research journal also, because the ghost journal or the journal which having a very similar name to the standard journal, they are also existing in this academic world. And sometimes people get cheated, and they do lot of publication work prior to that. So these are again some examples: submitting work previously presented in another course, arranging to give or receive answer by use of signals, notes, or technological device. These are all during that schedule. Then research integrity and policy structure, code of responsible research conduct and research misconduct. Now, if somebody is not following this academic integrity or honesty, then what should be the steps to be taken him or against her, or if you are practicing this research misconduct. Already we have discussed about this falsification, fabrication, plagiarism. Then how to take a action against that. So what are the process for dealing with this misconduct? So again, I'm saying the rules have been made, the committees has been made, the guidelines has been made by the universities or UGCs or others, just to keep a check onto it. But very sorry to say that it's not something in the hand of only regulatory authorities to just by making this rule one can stop academic misconduct or dishonesty or ethics. There are various ways in which it is to be practiced, but then rules are made. I have seen many of the time, if somebody breaches this or somebody is practicing this dishonesty, has to pay for it in the form of even I have seen even degrees have been withdrawn. So somebody has unethically got the degree, but then that university has ordered that degree have been withdrawn. Yes, it has been happened. I have also seen on my own eyes, or I have seen many of the candidates who have been rejected for promotion or maybe uh, uh, guiding for the research and many other kind of, because it depending upon the level. Even I have seen disk tracking of research paper. What is disk tracking of research paper? Probably you may not be knowing. Let me tell you. Many of the time, you publish the research paper, uh, as I said, following this misconduct or disintegrity or something like that. But then later on, somebody try to challenge your work, okay, and he or she try to produce the same data later on, and it is found that your things which have been done is not correct. And at that time, he or she will write to that journal, and journal will distract, detract or distract your research paper. Okay, so what is that? Say for example, you have published particular paper in a given volume, page number, etc., and it is already published now. But then later on I refer that research paper, okay, and I try to produce the same experiments again, and I found that you have done blunders into that. Okay, so then I will write to the editor of that journal with an evidence particular data which you have produced are not reproducible, or it is something which is not correct as per the my interpretation, then if your argument is correct, then as I said, his or her paper will be distract or detract from the journal. So this type of, and then the author who have done show, if he or she is there still there in the service, that editor of that journal will write to that particular institution, and institution will take action on him or her later on. So this is again very kind of a serious action taken for breaching or for practicing the misconduct in the academic world. Already I told you, guideship was withdrawn, or it was person was not allowed to guide for 2 or 3 years again for a particular period, or degree has been withdrawn. These are the other checks have been taken up by the regulatory authorities. These are the responsible conduct of a research. Already in the dissemination of various words, these are again the same thing, but we should not follow this things in a total. Okay, these are the recognition. Already I talked about how to check with plagiarism. Check is there nowadays. Okay, in these days of a technology, now nobody will able to hide this academic dishonesty. These are the role as a student to comply the honesty, trust, fairness, respect, and responsibility. Okay. This is a place from where I'm talking to all of you. The chemistry department of Faculty of Science of the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda, followed by again a beautiful dome, second largest in Asia, of our arts faculty building, followed by a first line of our university anthem, Ame Vadodarana Vidyapithna Sapna Saravnara. With this, I end my presentation. These are my contact detail. If anybody would like to, interact with me later on, can. Our session is over. The session is open for the question answer. If you have any queries or question, I don't know how much you have understood. I try to, give a gist of when you are writing the research paper, what type of a academic integrity or honesty you have to follow. So you may if you have any queries or questions have been resulted out of my talk, you may ask me. Shared with you, may be understood when you will be start doing it or start practicing it. It may happen that in this audience, many of you have just joined the research, so probably you may not be understanding what the research communication means, or how to write, or thesis, etc. But this all you are going to face it in the later part of your PhD work. So I'll be very happy if at least some of you have any queries out of this. Any questions? Students, are you there with me? Sutach ho?
Yes, sir.
हाँ, जागो है? हाँ sir.
Yes,
Are
sir.
you alive?
Yes, sir.
कंटाળી ગયા છો?
Yes, sir.
આ તો કેવું છે, after it was after lunch session was there, એટલે અમુકને તો ઊંઘ પણ આવી ગઈ હશે. So if there is no questions, I end the session. Once again, I take this opportunity to thank Dr. Bakshi for inviting me and sharing some of my views with all of you. So thank you very much. and wish you all the best for your research endeavor. All the best to all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Jadeja, sir. Our next speaker for this session is Dr. Rajesh SV. Dr. Rajesh is an assistant professor at the Department of Archaeology at University of Kerala. Sir has also done a lot of work in Kutch University, in Kutch itself for his research work. We welcome Dr. Rajesh.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, great. One second. First, I will share my slide here.
Sure, sir.
Is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, one second. Okay. So, first of all, I am thankful to Dr. Subhash Bhandari and Dr. Gaurav Jauhar for giving me this opportunity. And I know that you all are doing your coursework related work, and here I am not going to give you any very technical aspects of archaeology or technical aspects related to the multidisciplinary approaches of archaeology or something. I am just giving you some, I will be showing some photographs, some basics about archaeology. Instead of actually the half of my presentation is regarding what is archaeology and how it is it is practiced, and those kind of things I will discuss in the first 20-25 slides, and in later slides I will be giving you the details of multidisciplinary aspects mainly related to science in archaeology. And here though I am saying that it is slides, majority of my slides are only photographs. So is it clear now? Hello? I am audible, na? Yeah.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
If there is any technical glitch happens, please let me know.
Sure, sir, sure.
Yeah. So, first of all, I will start with what archaeology is not. Usually, here the problem with these online presentations are this. Sometimes we can't communicate our things as we want to. So, please bear with me. So, while talking about what archaeology is not, usually people think that means the study of the dinosaurs or study of fossils of old period are belonging to archaeology. Actually, they are not. And also, you might have watched movies like Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider, and there you might be seeing that they were those people are running behind certain artifacts, and they are only caring about those things and not caring about other artifacts. So those kind of activities are known as grave robbing or treasure hunting. And that is also actually not archaeology. Then also some of the paranormal events described in popular culture, like you might have heard about Robinson Crusoe or Robin Hood and those kind of characters. And Robin Hood is a mythical character. And we mainly try to understand the past humans or the real lived things. And also the curses and magic. Many of you might have watched the movie Mummy, and there is the stories about the curses, and also some people says that the pyramids are created by the aliens or the pseudoscience and those kind of things. And actually they are not archaeology. So paleontology, that means the study of fossils. We only study fossils if it is associated with the humans. So it means if you look into the human history, it is only 6 million year old. So before that, we are not actually, they comes under other periods, and they are not coming under the purview of archaeology. So we will not be looking into. We are not paleontologists. We are not actually dealing with grave robbings, treasure hunting, paranormal activities, and curses and magic. Then, what is archaeology? The word archaeology is derived from a Greek word known as archaeos, that means ancient. And from that word, the term archaeologia, that means ancient history derived. And in Latin also it was called archaeologia, and French also archaeologia. And also in English, till 17th century, it was archaeology means ancient history. So in languages like English, French, Latin, and Greek, means archaeology meant ancient history. And in English, or the English people in 1825 AD, they used archaeology as synonyms to ancient science. And nowadays means in Commonwealth countries we have archaeology as a spelling of ARCHAEOLOGY, and in USA like countries it has spelling of ARCHEOLOGY. After H there is no A. So archaeology means that is a study of ancient people, and some people call it as ancient history, some call it as ancient science, and part of this. And in archaeology, what actually we do? Archaeology, is it the study of materials, or is it the study of the past humans? In reality, archaeology is the study of past humans. For the study of past humans, to understand the past humans, we study the artifacts. Artifacts means the objects made and used by the humans, their architectural features, and the biofacts and ecofacts. Biofacts and ecofacts means animal remains or the plant remains associated with them, and the cultural landscape. And the cultural landscape means the place where the ancient people lived or their activities were happening. So by studying artifacts, architecture, biofacts, and cultural landscape, we are trying to understand the past humans. So archaeology is the study of past humans. Archaeology employs a wide range of different procedures. It can be considered both social science and a humanity. And some scholars call archaeology as half science and half art. In North America, archaeology is a branch of anthropology, while in United Kingdom it is part of the study of history. And we people, we were under the British for a long time, and due to that reason, we are still in India. Archaeology is a part of history, and in France it is part of geology. So whatever it is, archaeology means it is a study of past humans using the material remains left by them. Is it clear or not?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, in archaeology, in different subjects, you collect your data from different sources. In archaeology, there are also some methods to collect the data. One is known as surveys, that is exploration. Another one is excavation. The third one is experimental studies. Fourth one is ethno-archaeological studies. And fifth one is simulation or modeling. In the field survey technique, I am just going like not giving much stress on each and every aspect. I will be giving a flash or quick glance into these things only. So in the field survey methods or the survey or the exploration, we do certain techniques like village to village basis. That means we will go to each and every, in a particular area, we select the whole area, and in each village, we will go to the schools or the elders or to the people who are the moving communities, or also to the local historians, and talk to them. And ask them about the importance of the archaeological things and the ancient villages nearby their places. And if they say that, okay, if there is a place, and then we check them, and based on that, we identify the locations. And that kind of survey is known as village to village survey. So village to village survey is very easy one, because we can do the survey in very limited time. It means very fast pitch, and also with very limited amount of money. Then another one is the etiological basis, mainly based on the land, mainly looking at the place names and those kind of things. Another one is landforms, because archaeology means if it is an archaeological site that has a kind of mound-like formation that is typically different from the usual landforms. And in that way also we do the surveys. Another one is transect survey. Transect survey means in the area where you want to survey or where you want to do your exploration, you divide that area into different lines, and you will survey in that lines. For example, sometimes you might be using a motorbike, or you might be using a car. Sometimes you might be walking in that line. In that way also means you will be covering this area. But the problem is that the transect survey, you will be only covering the area where means in which way you are walking. And means, and in that always the chances of missing sites are there. Then comes the full coverage survey. In the full coverage survey, what you will do is that if you have an area of 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer survey, and if for that you need at least 10 people, and 10 people is needed, and you should walk. And it means, for example, 10 people will stand in a line in horizontally, and one person in left side he can see almost 5 meter means very clearly, and the right side also he can see 5 meter clearly. So means 10 people means they can cover 100 meter in horizontally, and then you will walk. And if you walk one transect, and you will cover an area of 100 meter into 1 kilometer. Then again you will start walking another direction, so you can cover 200 meter into. But in such a way, if you walk 10 times, you can cover 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer area completely. So in this kind of surveys, if you consider the result, they are very fruitful. But the problem is that it will take a lot of time, lot of money, and manpower. So based on our objectives, we have to decide which method to follow. So one method of data collection is exploration, that include, as I mentioned, village to village, etiological basis, landform, transect, and full coverage. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, but it is not changing, sir.
It is not changing now? Now the slide changed or not?
No, sir.
No, not
It is still on the first
Oh,
slide.
sorry.
Yes, sir. Now it
Yes,
has.
sir. Now
I will
it
try-
is it.
Okay, now I will try one side. Yeah. So now that another slide came or not?
yes,
So
sir. Now changing.
now the slide is field survey methods. It is showing there or not?
So the slide is what is archaeology and what it means in different countries. That slide is being seen.
And now what about now?
So field survey methods.
Okay, so I think means when I make it means what the full display thing, it is not coming. So I will do like this. Okay. Can you see the next slide now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So in field survey, as I mentioned, means okay, we will be doing different kind of techniques like means transect survey or means or village to village or etiological basis, landform or whatever. So in that we always need certain equipments for our assistance. For example, in order to locate the places, we use as GPSs. Now you all know that in nowadays mobiles have GPSs, but the means handheld GPS are more accurate. Within the even GPS also of different varieties, and these are even very precise GPS are now available. And also means for the aerial photographs. Earlier people used kites to make the photographs. Nowadays, drones are using, drones or quadcopters are using. And also means nowadays LiDAR surveys are done using helicopters or planes. And also then we are using magnetic survey and GPRs, etc. to make the means what is it, to understand the subsurface features. Then in order to make the 3Ds and also to document the features in an archaeological site, or in order to make the contour of a site, we use total station and also use satellite. Means, along with that, also use remote sensing and satellite data to understand the landforms. So, with the help of all these kind of instruments, we are doing means surveys. Now, once you find a site, or means if you might be finding hundreds of sites during your exploration, and within that we won't excavate all the sites we explored. We will select the most appropriate one, which will be suitable for our objectives. So based on that, means while doing excavation, we can only do two kind of excavations. One will be there are many terms people are using like for excavation, but you can only dig down or horizontally. So there are only two kinds of excavations. One is vertical excavation, another one is horizontal excavation. In the vertical excavation means in this kind of excavation, you can understand the cultural chronology of a site in very limited time. But the problem with this thing that you can't understand the whole features or what was happening in a particular time period in the whole site. So in order to know that thing, horizontal excavations are conducted. But the horizontal excavations need more money and more time and even more manpower. Then in the excavation, I mentioned that there are only two methods. They are vertical and horizontal. In that also means for based on the structures or kind of objectives, we make them in, we name them as different. For example, for digging circular structures, we use the method known as quadrant method. Quadrant means you make means okay. If you have a square grid, you divide that into four units or four quadrants, and within that you will dig means each alternate quadrant. So in that way, you can it is this kind of quadrant excavation is very much suitable for circular kind of structures. In that way, means if you excavate alternate quadrants, you can easily understand the features of circular structures. Then another method is grid method. The grid method means you will be dividing your excavation unit into small grids. That means this size of the grids may changes. Sometimes it will be only 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter excavation. 10 centimeter because within a 1 meter trench you will be making grids of small size. In some excavation it will be 5 meter by 5 meter excavation. So depending on your the area of excavation and your plan, you can divide your site into different grids. Then another method is known as trial trenching. Trial trenches are we usually put to understand the archaeological potential of a site. If we feel that the site is very promising, then only the people will start or go for excavation. Another one is index trench. Index trench means whenever you excavate in a trench, you will put the trench, one trench in the topmost portion or the most strategic position of a mound. In that trench, you can understand the sequence or cultural stratigraphy of the site. So that kind of trench is known as index trench. Then the another method is known as open stripping. Open stripping means, for example, if you have a 10-meter deposit, and in that there is a big dump of probably 550 years or 100 years before somebody might have dumped something, and it was like a huge mound. You can see like that. In that case okay, you might have only 2 months for excavation or 3 months for excavation, and only limited laborers or limited people to work. Then it won't be possible to reach the bottom or the area of your interest. Then what they use, what you say, you will remove the topmost. For example, I talked about a dump. They're dumped using some instruments like earth movers, like JCB or Hitachi, and then from the level where your cultural period starts, you will do the excavation. So in that way, if it is horizontal or vertical excavation, we will do different kinds of excavations known as quadrant method, grid method, trial trenching, index trenching, and open stripping. And within the excavation also we use different methods known as layer method. Layer method means it is the basic principle of geology or geography. In that means only difference between geological stratigraphy and archaeological stratigraphy is that in geology we will count each microstratigraphy. In archaeology, each event should be considered as a strata. Each event means that may include hundreds of microstrata in one archaeological layer. But for example, an ashy patch of gray color that might be of 30 centimeter. We will consider that as one layer. In case of geology, what happens in that each microstrata will be considered. Then we also use the method known as lot. Actually, lot method is like for each dig you will be giving different names, and locus method is also the same thing. Then Harris matrix, that is mainly to control the excavation. So I am not going into the details of these things because our time is very limited and I have to finish that within around 5:30. So different methods are using layer method, load method, locus method, Harris matrix, and all these are the different methods. And in archaeology, or in the Indian archaeology, the layer method was introduced by Dr. Mortimer Eric Wheeler. So, is it clear or is it visible now?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you. Now, another method of archaeological data collection is ethnography or ethnoarchaeology and experimental archaeology. In experimental studies, what we do is that we try to make the ancient things by experimentally reproducing it. Because many of the things produced in the past are not produced in nowadays. So we try to replicate them by using modern techniques. And by that, for example, in how much degrees Celsius they heated this, they heated particular kind of object to attain that color. So in order to understand that thing, we used to humans do repeated heatings or repeated experiments, and what kind of raw materials they were using, from where those kind of materials were bringing, or what kind of effects happening to happening to particular material in a similar kind of temperature in different localities, and those kind of things we are trying to understand through experimental studies. And in the ethnographic studies, what we are doing is that we try to connect the things with the archaeological things with the present ethnographic samples. For example, in the Indus Valley civilization, the shell bangle manufacturing was studied or understood completely based on the shell bangle manufacturing at Bishnupur in Western Bengal. And both the techniques, the Harappans, that is almost 5,000 years before, the Harappans produced the shell bangles exactly using the same techniques using in Bishnupur region. So the shell bangle manufacturing is, so for that, ethnography means you will be trying to see parallels to the present communities who are practicing certain kind of craft activities, and those kind of studies are done. And also in a similar way, the shell spoon making was identified, and those kind of studies. And in that kind of thing, in ethnography, what we are doing is that we are trying to compare the present thing with the archaeological things. And if you can see exact parallels, then it is known as ethnoarchaeology. Then comes simulation. Simulation means you will be trying to replicate certain things. For example, if you go to an ancient archaeological site, you can't understand the things, because there will be most of the things will be in ruins. So you can really understand the things in real context. So with the help of computers, we will try to replicate or simulate the things and recreate the things. So in that way, we can have a better idea of the sites. And in similar way, so that the sites like Teotihuacan, Palenque, in the Mayan city of Palenque, etc. study. So as I mentioned, through exploration, excavation, and ethnographic study, experimental study, and simulation, we are learning about archaeological things. Is it okay? Hello? Hello?
Sir, everyone is present, but no one is answering.
Yeah, that's what. Okay. No problem, because I am not sure that is it audible, visible or not. That's why I'm just asking.
No, sir, your audio and the presentation both are, sir, very perfect. It's
okay.
Rajesh, your mic is muted.
Hello, sir. You are on.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you.
Okay, I think there are some issues, and now okay. You can see now. See now.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yeah. So after the means. So after the excavations or means explorations, we get a lot of artifacts. Then the next step is documentation, or means how to document. That's the most important thing. So in order to document the things, based on the materials and your objective, you document. For example, you will be getting sometimes you will be getting some religious symbols like the one I showed in, and this is a Shivalinga. The one according to for our understanding, or one for the students, one Shivalinga has only that cylindrical portion only, but actually it is not. One Shivalinga means like it has 3 portions. One is known as Shiva Bhaga, then next is known as Vishnu Bhaga, and the last one is known as Brahma Bhaga. Brahma Bhaga is divided into 4, and the Vishnu Bhaga is divided into 8, and the Shiva Bhaga is sometimes in 16 or cylindrical. So, and that will be based on the material, or the object, we record the things. And if it is an archaeological site, okay, we will be getting ceramics in the sections. So you have to document that thing. In the documentation means sometimes you have to draw, you have to write the things, you have to make the descriptions. And also you will be getting sometimes megaliths, like megalithic structures, sculptures, or some monuments like Chumadagis. That means Chumadagi means Lord relieving stones, etc. Then in certain times you may find some of the artifact or cultural materials or cultural heritage properties are used as present or used for certain purposes in present day. For example, here you can see the pillars or the standing pillars of Chumadagis are used as in a tea stall. So you should carefully document these things, because after sometimes if they if they remove these stones, we won't get them. So we need to document each and every artifacts associated with our studies. Then also sometimes these materials are probably the people will be using for what we say for in order to sticking notices and those kind of thing, or in order to add their for ads and those kind of purposes. Some of them were using as bridges. So we needed to document, although they are not in the proper context or not in proper condition, we need to document whatever we are getting. Then there should be also, we should need a proper data sheet. In that, we should have at least the name of the site, location, geo coordinates, description of the site, and what are the things we are getting, the photographs, numbers, and some descriptions. Because once you don't have all these things, after after finishing your exploration, you can't write your thesis or your research. So and also it should be in an uniform style. Then in archaeology, photography is also very important. The photography should be very professional, and the light source means depending on the condition, it should not be overexposed and it should not be very dull. So you should use a proper lighting and proper exposure also. And also sometimes we have to use whatever equipments are available to take the photographs, because sometimes we have to take larger area, like aerial photographs. Always we may not be using drones. So based on whatever equipments we are getting, or based on the in the proper lighting and proper exposure, we should take photographs. And also in archaeology, drawings are also very important. So all the artifacts should be drawn proper. Nowadays though we use means first make the rough drawings in hands by using hands, and now the what is softwares or means the programs like Illustrator, GIMP, Inkspace are all helpful for archaeological drawing, because in CAD-based softwares it is very difficult to draw them. In it, they are very easy to draw in the softwares like Illustrator, etc. Then after means okay, drawing is there. Then studies once the documentation happen, then comes publication. Like means all other research archaeologists need to publish their research as articles or means in edited books or as books or as reports. Then after the publication, our works actually not ends. We need to preserve the materials. We need to store the materials properly, because these materials were very properly under the soil for many years. So once you if you don't take proper care of these objects, they will lose very fast. So we need to preserve these materials. We need to store them. Also, it is very important to display at least the selected artifacts to the public, because they should get awareness about it. Unless these kind of display techniques will help to create awareness among the people to protect their cultural properties. So preservation, storage, and display are very important. The next stage is report writing. So in archaeology means, as I told, once you get the material through excavation, exploration, or ethnographic data, experimental data, or from simulation techniques, you should document them properly. Then you should take proper photographs. You should make them proper drawings, and then you should publish the reports. And also means you should store them properly, and you should preserve them, and also means display them to the public. And the report writing is also very important in archaeology. Now, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so archaeology is because we are dealing with humans. We are dealing with humans, and all the aspects of human can be studied in archaeology. So we can we use science, natural sciences, social sciences. Archaeology is highly multidisciplinary in nature. For example, sometimes if you are doing a historical archaeology, then always you should have some relation with the history. If you are doing the Ramayana sites, then you should have some better understanding about the region and its Ramayana history and those kind of things. Then if you are doing environmental archaeology, you should know about environment. Then if you are using the physical techniques, you should know physics. Then chemistry. In similar ways, zoology, anthropology, fisheries. In archaeology, we use we get the help of different disciplines from different disciplines. I am not saying that one person should study all these things. There are a lot of specializations. For example, I am a specialist in ceramics, certain are specialists in zooarchaeology, some are specialists in archaeobotany. Similar way, some are specialists in ichthyoarchaeology, that is the study of fishes. Then some are specialists in geoarchaeology. So in that way, you can have specialization. And I tried to forgot to tell you that in archaeology you can't do the works independently. You always need to form team, and you should work in group. So as I mentioned, archaeology is a highly multidisciplinary subject. Now, first I will talk about environmental and ecological archaeology. Environmental or ecological archaeology, that is a study of the relationship between past human population and their environment. That means the environment and how the people are related to their environment, or how they were related to their environment. And means what was its role in shaping their culture. That is actually the environmental archaeologists are dealing. In the environmental archaeology, the subfields are zooarchaeology, geoarchaeology, and archaeobotany. Archaeobotany is also known as paleobotany or paleoethnobotany, and zooarchaeology is called archaeozoology also sometimes. So the three subfields of environmental and ecological archaeology are geoarchaeology, archaeobotany, and zoo archaeology. And in this geoarchaeology, we study geology of archaeological settlements. How the people are associated with this kind of geology, why they selected certain kind of geology, and means from where they were bringing certain kind of artifacts, how the site was formed. These kind of studies are done in geoarchaeology. And in the archaeobotany, the archaeobotanists are especially or trying to understand the plant remains. In the zooarchaeology, the zooarchaeologists is trying to study the animal remains. So in the environmental or in the ecological archaeology, because here we are mainly dealing with geoarchaeology, archaeobotany, and zooarchaeology. In this, we are trying to understand the relation between past human population and their environment. And means in the mainly means the kind of means the zooarchaeological and archaeobotanical samples are collected through wet sieving and dry sieving processes in archaeology, or means in the excavation. In the dry sieving, what you used to do is you may get mainly the beads, lithics, there those kind of artifacts, and the some kind of bones and other artifacts. But when it comes to seeds and those kind of things, because they are very small and the thing, then wet sieving is most. So in this way, we collect materials. Then now I will talk about archaeozoology or zooarchaeology. It is known in different names. Some call it as faunal analysis, osteoarchaeology, zooarchaeology, etc. Zooarchaeology is the study of animal remains from archaeological deposits. It is very simple. And it is very much related to anthropology, or this subject has developed in connection with archaeology, anthropology, ecology, paleontology, and zoology. And the archaeozoologists or zooarchaeologists are very much interested in site formation process, how a site was formed, and means how the site was how it survived in different seasons, and subsistence strategies of the people, animal domestication, social use of animals, and paleo environment, in which environment these animals were lived or raised. These kind of things are studied in zooarchaeology. And sometimes these zooarchaeologists are studying the materials from single site or from a region or from different sites or different regions, like means globally they study about these remains. So that means zooarchaeology is the study of animal remains from archaeological deposits, and this subject was developed side by side of anthropology, archaeology, ecology, paleontology, and zoology. The things they are dealing with in zooarchaeology are site formation processes, subsistence strategies, animal domestication, social use of animals, and paleo environments. And the materials from some scholars are, because the kind of studies in the researchers are sometimes they are only site specific, sometimes they are region specific, sometimes they are globally. And archaeologists looking into they are trying with usually if you get bones or from the sites, they are trying to classify them based on taxonomy. The branch of science that considered for science student designate this kind of explanation from me, but still I am saying about the branch of science concerned with classification. That is there. Then taphonomy also done. That is the in the buried environment, the kind of changes happening to the bones. That is the how organisms decay and become fossilized or preserved in the archaeological record. And also by using this animal ornaments or from the faunal remains, we can understand through DNA studies, isotope studies, etc. We can understand about the movement of the animals, the kind of the different species, etc. And also sometimes star bones can help us to get dates of the size. So the basic need or means the basic role of zooarchaeology is to identify the role of animals in human diet, assess the method of procurement and processing of animals in order to understand the butchering practices through the cut marks, taphonomic studies, etc. the role of animals in trade, agricultural, transport, etc., to understand the domestication and pastoralist activities, and also to understand the past environment. So, by studying animal bones, one means the people are trying to understand the role of animals in human diet, the raw material, or the meat procurement and processing, or the animal procurement, the butchery and the cut marks, the role of animals in trade, agriculture, transport, domestication, pastoralism, and how certain animals were living in certain kind of environment, or the kind of environment was suitable for this kind of animals to grow, and such kind of studies are happening in archaeology. Usually the animal remains we are getting from the sites are like the bones, ivory, teeth, shell, fish scales, then otolith. They are the means actually calcium carbonate formation within the fish. Then also the skins. So these are the kind of animal remains we are getting. But in the Indian condition, in our condition, the getting skins and scales are very difficult. Rest of things we will get bones, teeth, shells, ivory, and otoliths. And this means sometimes these burials we get in the, or sometimes the skeletal remains we get in primary context. Even if you are digging in a grave, if it is not disturbed, we may get in primary context. Sometimes in the secondary context. Secondary context means the context where it was not primarily buried or means thrown. For example, trash deposits or something in the site. Then we analyze mainly the taxonomy, trying to understand the features of the bones in the lab. In a zooarchaeology lab, there should be modern osteological collection, because while comparing with modern samples only, one can understand about the past animals. So for that, one should prepare modern samples. The preparation is actually a difficult process, in that sometimes you have to bury the dead animal, and from then you should keep it for 5 to 6 months, and then you can take that out. Or sometimes you have to boil it and then remove the flesh, and through repeated boiling and keeping them for overnight, and in a similar way keeping the repeating this process for 1 week or 2 weeks, you can make the bones separate from the flesh. And sometimes it is very very filthy and very smelly kind of thing. But in this way we prepare the reference collections. In India now, they in only MS University of Baroda, Deccan College Pune, and in University of Kerala have only this kind of reference collections. Then, in the archaeological context, we will be getting the bones, not like the complete animals or something. We will be getting the bits and pieces. Here in this trench, you can see there are a lot of bones are there. So in this way, we are getting, in some sites, this will be there will be more bones. Sometimes there will be very less bones, and the archaeological bones will be looking like this. They are like sometimes there will be calcium incrustations, there will be charred bones, there will be broken bones, teeth, etc. And here, and some of them might have cut marks. Some of them might have been made into tools. There are cracks you can see. Then butchery marks. Then also charring marks. These also can observe this thing in these kind of bones. While observing this thing, okay, what kind of tools they were using to cut the bone, or taking out the meat, or what kind of tools they were using, etc., can be studied from these kind of bones. And also from the teeth, we can understand the movement of the animals. That is mainly due to the study of isotope. By studying the strontium isotope values, one can understand the movement of animals from one place to particular area. For example, these animal teeth, especially the cattle teeth, are growing in every year. So, for example, if a cattle is grown, or means it was born in Sindh region of Pakistan, it might be eating the food in that region. So the strontium value of that area will be different than Gujarat region. After 2 years, if the pastoralists are means moving this animal from there to Gujarat, they will be eating the food in this region. So gradually, the means because it is there is a difference between the human teeth and this cattle teeth. Cattle's teeth are growing every year. So in the second, if it is after 2 years, it is consuming that strontium, the food from here, the strontium value signatures of that region will be different from the first one. Then also again, if they are transporting this animal or moving this animal from this place to another place after 2 or 3 years, the strontium value will be different. So based on that, looking into that thing, we can say that along with the, because our ultimate aim is to understand about the past humans, not about the animals. So by looking at these strontium values, we can understand that, okay, these animals were moving. That means there was a pastoral community or the moving community, or means there was like a system of what we say, transporting animals from one place to another was happening. We can make these kind of assumptions based on these kind of studies. Then, apart from this, as I mentioned, apart from the these kind of skeletal remains, the finished products, the bone tools are also we are getting. From the bone tools, we can understand, okay, what was the purpose of these bone tools and for what purpose they made and how these bone tools were carved, and these kind of things can be understood. Then, now I mentioned about the animal bones. Then fish bones. Fish bones also means, okay, usually means, okay, the getting fish bones are very difficult because they are very small in size. If you are not doing proper sieving, you won't get fish bones from the site. Then also means fish vertebrates are very common in many sites, but by using fish vertebrae, it is very difficult to identify the species. Then the another important thing we are getting along with the fish bones are otoliths. Otoliths are actually means there's a calcium carbonate crystals. They are forming in the ears of the fishes. In each fishes have 3 pairs of otoliths, and among them 2 will be very prominent one. And the shape, size, etc. of different species of different fish species are different. So by looking at the otolith, one can say about the size of the type of the fish, its size, the kind of environment it was living. It was in the salt, it was in seawater, it was in the fresh water, and what was the age of the fish, like tree ring. While counting the rings in the otolith, one can say about the age of the fish also. So those kind of studies can be done. So these are the fish remains we identified from the site of Navina in Mundra in Gujarat. Actually, they were identified mainly looking at the otoliths. Now, next one is the study of fish is known as ichthyarchaeology. Now comes archaeomalacology. Malacology is the study of shells. Here, what happens? This is actually this in archaeological context. Mainly, shells were used for making ornaments, utensils, and also for edible purposes. Here, you can see it is one of the shell workshops, very important shell workshops during the Harappan period. Here, you can see in the center portion there are cut bangles, and that means this was a shell bangle manufacturing place, and the shells were okay, different shells are stored here, and they are in one place. A large number of cut shell bangles are kept. And also from the sites, we are getting shells used for edible purposes like Turbula pyrum, then Babylon aspirata, Jadeja species, Natica species, or different varieties of shells we are getting. And also, some of them are naturally cut, and some have the cut marks. And also here you can see these kind of lip portions are cut. Actually, these are the waste of shell bangle manufacture. And here you can see different kinds of shell bangles of thin variety, thick variety, etc. And apart from these kind of things, they made many ornaments and many inlay kind of things for using these kind of shells. Even what we say, pillar models were also made using shells. So by looking at the shells, one can say about the kind of shell fishing and what kind of shell species was coming from different regions, because certain species of shells only grow in certain waters. So based on that, the kind of shell procuring things and the shell object manufacturing extra can be studied. Now we'll talk about archaeobotany. So means when humans started cultivating, cultivating somewhere around Neolithic period, that is around 7,000 years before. And from that time onwards, even before that period, they were mainly hunting, gathering the things. So they were picking the fruits or something, those kind of, or roots. Then when they started settled life, they started cultivating many things. So in this archaeobotany or paleoethnobotany, that is a study of human interaction with plant in the past. So mainly means in archaeology there is a special branch. Mainly they are dealt with the botanists. That field is known as, some people call it as archaeobotany and some call it as paleoethnobotany. In that, what they are doing is that they are trying to understand the human interaction with the plants in the past. And there is another field is also there. That is known as paleobotany, that studies the fossil plants. So archaeobotany is a study of human interaction with the plant in the past. Paleobotany means study of fossil plants. That necessarily doesn't mean that they are dealing with the humans. They are usually dealing with the study of fossil plants. That those fossil may date back to the beginning of humans itself. That what kinds of plant remains we usually get? Some days we may get carbonized seeds, wood charcoal, etc. Then how we collect? We use the technique known as flotation. Flotation means in a big drum, we put water, and in that we will throw the clay or the soil. Then we will stir it, and less weighted things will come out. So in this way, the charred seeds, carbonized things will come out. Then by using a sieve, we will tie we sieve them and we collect the materials and dry them. And from then after that thing, we used to do laboratory studies and try to understand the archaeobotanical samples. And also the microscopic fossils like pollens are also studied in archaeology to understand the past climate. For that, mainly means we try to understand, we collect samples from the climate. Then phytoliths, they are the silicate skeletons of plant cell structures. By studying them, we can understand what kind of plant was there and what they were using. Yes, I am not going into the detail of phytolith. And then another materials we are studying, starches. These starches we are getting from stone artifacts and ceramic vessels, mainly stone artifacts like grinding stones. If you grind certain kind of grains, the starch will remain there. So in that way, we can collect starches from artifacts and ceramic vessels. Then the lipids. Lipids actually means, so if you cook something in a vessel, the remains of the oils of that food will remain in the vessel. So then by studying the vessels using gas chromatography, we can understand what kinds of food we are preparing within that. And then, here I am showing the photographs of how the pollen, the samples for pollens or phytoliths are collecting, and how they are scrapping the samples out for pollen organic residue analysis, etc. Then for archaeobotany also means if you are trying to understand the plant remains or the seeds or archaeobotany, we should have real modern reference collections. If you don't have the modern reference collection, you can understand the plants. Then once you have all the samples, then they will go for the archaeobotanical botanist lab, and there they understand the things. From in the archaeobotanist lab, they understand what kind of starch was this and why it belonged to which plant, etc. And also the tree rings. Another the botany mainly the trees can also help to dating. Mainly, actually by using trees, we can only date very limited. Those can only give very limited time period, and also always it only give the life of that plant only. So it may not have much. Sometimes it may not have much connection with the archaeological context, but still, these kind of botanical samples can help us in many ways. Hello, you can hear me, na?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So then means okay. These are I said that the grinding stones can give evidence for means starches. Here some of the grinding stones from archaeological context. Here I have shown some of the seeds and some phytolith samples and also some charcoals. Even from the charcoals we can identify the wood because specific wood have specific structure. Based on the structure you can identify the plant. Now geoarchaeology. So in archaeology, geology is very much important and it is essential. Through understanding geology or geoarchaeology, you can study water supplies and potential communication routes, defensibility, agricultural potentiality, etc. And understanding the landscape and changes they have undergone through time are critically important in understanding archaeological sites. And if you do them, if you try to understand the physical and chemical properties of the sediments, it can give information about the origin, preservation, and destruction of archaeological sites. Mainly the site formation process. How this means soil was okay. Was there any evidence for flood activities? Is there any kind of what we say? Wind blown soils were coming through wind blown activities, etc. We can understand. And also means remote sensing techniques can also give us some ideas about the geology of a particular region, etc., or geoarchaeology of the particular region. So geoarchaeologists are mainly doing in archaeology in order to understand the site formation process. They are trying to learn about the microstratigraphy of the sites by collecting samples in bulk, mainly the soil samples in bulk pieces, and then they study them in the lab. Through using remote sensing, they are making mainly the landform changes they can understand, and also for the microstratigraphy they do the thin section studies and try to understand the kind of what is the site for the layers and how they were formed and those kind of things. And the LIDAR surveys are also done nowadays to have the understanding of the landforms. Then geology has great help. It can help immensely for archaeologists, for example, to understand as I mentioned, the stratigraphy. Here you can see. Here we are once in one archaeological strata may contain hundreds of microstratas of geology. But here the same principle we applied. Here you can see for the stratigraphy, the principle of stratigraphy we took from geology. Then also for understand the sourcing of the material. For example, the material like rock richat, it is coming from rock resucker mines. So is it coming from there or not? Those kind of studies, and in those in order to having a better idea about the raw material origin and those kind of things, the help of geologists are very important. Here I have showed lapis lazuli. It is coming from Badakhshan in Afghanistan. So the kind of raw materials which are occurring in particular region, and the geologists can help the archaeologists in that kind of matters. Then biological anthropology or physical anthropology. The biological anthropology nowadays we call them as physical anthropology. It actually deals with the study of fossils and genetic evidence related to human evolution, and how the people are different, how they are genetically different, and how they are each related to each other, and how they are the modern humans, modern human population, how they are different from the ancient one, and what are the anatomical and skeletal or physiological changes happen to them. All these things are dealt by biological anthropologists, or known as physical anthropologists. So one specialist branch within physical anthropology is known as forensic anthropology. They mainly try to understand skeletal analysis and techniques. Through that they are trying to understand the people. Then the biological anthropological study of humans developed during the 18th and 19th centuries, and the resulting and European fascination with the human cultural and biological diversity. Once after all this came, all this become important after the Charles Darwin's studies, and then many scholars started studying these things, and this resulted in the study of our understanding about the Neanderthal man, Cro-Magnon man, and those kind of people, or ancient people, and then that gave us very much understanding about the past populations. And for a physical anthropologist usually do the study of the what the skeletal remains in the lab, and here also means they also collect the samples or DNA samples from the labs. Sometimes we get the skeletons, means complete skeletons. Some days we may get joint burials. Some days we may get only fragments of the bones, and means based on whatever materials we are getting, they are trying to collect the. They are trying to analyze the materials, exactly like the animal bones. They are trying to understand the taxonomy, and so mainly they are trying to understand the features of each bones, and then they try to understand is it male or female, and what was the reason for its death, or so those kind of things they are trying to learn from these bones. Then also means DNAs, it is very difficult to get DNAs, and sometimes especially the environment like Kutch, the preservation of collagens in bones are very less, and there it is very difficult to get the DNA, but still means scholars are trying to understand and also the people are trying to understand the kind of proteins preserved in the teeth, to understand what kind of food they are eating and what kind of microbes where they're present, and these kind of studies are now going. Now, archaeology and physics. And now I am saying that archaeology and physics, sometimes archaeology, physics, chemistry, all these things are okay. All things comes together. Okay. For example, some certain techniques are used in chemistry, certain techniques are used in physics. It is not like that both are used in both the subjects, and those kind of things happen. And then for dating, nowadays, radiocarbon dating is there, luminescence dating, then archaeological prospection, mainly for the site surveys, we are using physical techniques. Then our magnetic electron spin resonance dating, we are using radiocarbon dating. And in each dating techniques, there is different methods are using, and also means how the results of these dating techniques are different, and means the kind of sample collection is different, and the age, the accuracy of many of the dates are different, and radiocarbon dates are mainly using to date the materials means maximum span of around 60,000 years, and we can't date beyond that using radiocarbon dating. And also there are techniques like potassium, argon, and many techniques that can use to date materials of millions of years old. Then in order to understand the features, mainly for the structures and those kind of things, we are now doing magnetic surveys, and also to understand the canals, ground features, etc. We are trying to do the geoelectrical measurements, and also do in order to understand to understand structural features, etc. We are still doing ground penetrating radar. All these are the physical techniques we are using. Then in archaeology, we also use chemistry, like for the identification of materials, existence of comets, or particular materials, the movement of the, because using the chemical techniques, we are using XRF, XRD, etc. to understand the chemical properties, or what are the minerals in certain objects, and based on that we understand, this belongs to this region, and this was coming from that area, and to understand the trade routes, source of materials, uses of objects, and also use chemical techniques to restore or preserve antiquities, and also to understand the chemical physical techniques like X-rays to understand the detection of fake antiquities, and also the analysis of properties also. So by using archaeology, there is a relation between archaeology and chemistry also. Like as I mentioned here, they are by using chemical techniques, they are conserving the ancient tiles. Again, in the lab, how they are doing with the different objects. Here the ceramic conservation is going, and also here I am showing how the metal is conserved. And metal usually means in the earlier time they used to give once you get the material, they just make a proper cleaning, and then they used to give a wax coating. But later it was wax coating only, just you can see the coat outside, but gradually the material decays. So here nowadays the people are using different techniques. They use proper cleaning of the materials using different kind of lights. Then they give preventive conservation, and finally they using the materials like B42. They join the material, and using B72 they give protective covering, and that means now these kind of conservation activities we can do with the help of chemistry. Now, computer applications in archaeology. So I am saying that GIS and all these techniques, these computer applications are associated with geology, archaeology, in different subjects they are associated. For example, these are like computer applications are mainly for the database creation, then for the creation of site gazetteers, maps, 3D modeling of sites and objects we are using. Because in archaeology, the very basic thing is the creation of the maps. So in that we give with the help of GIS tools or CAD-based softwares, we can make that maps and also 3D models or and those kind of things. Then also more inter-site investigation, more details of the sites can be understood with the help of 3D models or the computer models. Then also 3D models can be created with the help of edges of Metashape software, and so we can understand the structures and features more accurately. And also for the database or using the softwares like FileMaker Pro, we can feed the data, and now with the help of WebGIS, we all can access the data from any part of the world. So in all this way, we are collecting data. So as I mentioned, archaeology is collected to all many subjects. Okay, we can also do practice astronomy. We can do mathematics and many things. So here I just gave you a brief, and brief means very quick tour to the scientific aspects of archaeology and the connection of archaeology with other science subjects. Here I am stopping with a big thanks to all the listeners. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Dr. Rajesh. I hope everyone has gained enough knowledge about archaeology and how things work in that field. And if anyone has any doubts, they can ask sir. Sir, I think it is clear with everyone. So with your permission, I'd like to end this meeting. Thank you so much for the
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot,
Thanks.
Dr.
Thank you so
Gaurav.
much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.